Ang susunod na programa ay rated PG. Patnubay at gabay ng magulang ay kailangan sa mga batang manonood.
Good evening. You are watching the new Chairman's Report, now made possible through a partnership between IBC 13 and the Commission on Filipinos Overseas. I am 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐢𝐫𝐿 II, your host and chairperson of the CFO. For background, the CFO is a government agency under the Office of the President that looks after the interests of permanent and long-term migrants. That role is distinct from other migrant-serving government offices, like the Department of Migrant Workers, which looks out for the short-term migrants, primarily our OFWs, or Overseas Filipino workers. Our guest tonight represents one of the CFO partners, Edith Gomez-Cudiamat. She is the Chief Operating Officer of PLDT Global Corporation. You may have heard that a few months ago, CFO and PLDT Global signed a partnership that allows Filipinos overseas to access the 1343 action line from anywhere in the world through the 𝐷𝐞𝐻𝐨 mobile app. We will talk more about the 𝐷𝐞𝐻𝐨 later. For now, let me mention that an important part of the CFO's work includes fighting human trafficking, along with various government agencies in the Interagency Council Against Trafficking, or 𝐂𝐢𝐭𝐡. In fact, the CFO chairs the 𝐂𝐢𝐭𝐡's Advocacy and Communications Committee that spearheads the development and implementation of the Council's communication program. Returning to our guest, Ms. Cudiamat spearheads the streamlining of organizational functions to maximize strategic efficiency of her firm. Under her leadership, PLDT Global's operations group has consistently enhanced products and services, optimized operational efficiencies, and driven the company's global expansion. We'll talk about the various programs of PLDT Global that serve or benefit Filipinos overseas who have been recognized for their continuing contributions to the economic growth here at home. Ms. Cudiamat, welcome to the Chairman's Report.
Good evening, sir.
Okay, thank you for the time. Well, before we delve into it, maybe you can talk about the changing market landscapes. There are so many things that are fluid. Maybe you can tell us what trends you see, and also technology has changed, and connectivity has evolved
So fast.
So maybe talk about what you see, what are the opportunities, and I think more importantly, how does PLDT Global hope to position itself?
Yeah. Well, the market today, as we have observed, moved from the traditional or legacy voice messaging services to data. Kids today doesn't know really how to use landline, doesn't know how to use keypad.
I belong to the generation who sent postcards.
Yes, postcards. Cassette
Slow
tapes,
mail.
Slow mail. So the kids today, when they call us up, they will not use the keypads anymore, right? They either go to their social media apps, to their over-the-top applications such as Viber, WhatsApp, Telegram. They don't know how to communicate to us even by call. They usually just message us, right? So the trends today are evolving into voice or legacy services into data-driven services. And kids today, or most of us today, uses dual screen, multi-screen. We are not contented with big screen only. Sometimes big screen with small screen, multi activities, cross activities, we may say. With these technology changes, telecoms companies such as PLDT Global, we move into a space where we innovate platforms not only to serve the usual connectivity, but we superimpose use cases to adapt into the different data usages. Telecoms today are engaged not only into providing voice services, but layering some fintech services.
I see.
Partnering with content service providers such as your media, your streaming, your gaming, incorporating it into your regular telecoms services. So also our partnerships today evolve into telecoms to telecoms, or we call it carrier to carrier partnership, into carrier to multimedia hyperscalers such as your Google, Meta, or Facebook, TikTok, I must say, we move towards those partnerships, and again, crossing into banking or fintech services.
Right. So, would you say that your core identity or maybe your core business has changed because the technology has evolved, or is it an extension of really what you were doing before? What would be the more accurate way?
Before, when you say telecoms, you talk about connectivity, voice.
Yeah.
Today, telecoms is data or internet.
Right.
It is not, probably 20 years ago, when you say internet, it's a value-add service.
Sure.
Right? Today, internet is your
basic.
It's your, parang, you will consume internet because you want to connect to media, to multimedia. Para siyang electricity because you wanted to buy something new. So nabago na, nag-evolve na when you discuss telecoms. It's really data services because you want to access certain content or certain application that you can use over your data service.
Right. Is there also anything that is changing on the customer side, their profiles that make them more, I said, better suited, or maybe they're more sophisticated to transition to this new evolving technological trends?
There are a lot of triggers for the customers that change their behaviors. Cell phone for one.
Sure. More accessible now.
Yeah, more accessible. Computing now becomes actually at a small portion.
You can't get away from the office anymore.
No more, diba? It follows you. Education follows you. You don't need to be in school, physical presence, diba? Schools are more adapting into online today. Dati pag may bagyo, pahinga yung mga estudyante. Ngayon pag may bagyo, ang announcement ng school, online classes are enforced. So, I guess technology follows us and serves us better. Sometimes crossing personal times, but somehow it also serves and it makes us adaptable to the ever-changing community.
Right. Do you see any maybe changes in the profiles
of the
customers that make them change their needs or their demands? Or are they more open to maybe a higher level of service that maybe was not in demand when the profile was mainly domestic workers?
So the influence of the internet and the influence of social media makes them aware of where we are today in terms of probably internet speed bandwidth, diba? We challenge ourselves. Customers are demanding more for better access, for faster access, and for the availability of data access across or everywhere in the Philippines, even in the barrios, because they see that in the social media. For the group, we tend to be more aggressive, expansive in terms of telecom facilities to make it available across the nation, whether it be fixed services or wireless services, mobility. Data services follows mobility of individuals because of the demands, the ever-changing and sophisticated demand of the customer. These days, it's really more customer dictating the services. Before, it's actually services being fed to the consumer.
I see.
Now,
and that is because maybe there's a higher profile or changing profile?
The changing profile, influenced by the technology that's being serviced around.
Interesting. And maybe talk about how PLDT Global came about, because obviously it's formed from the mother company, PLDT. But I suppose like you and many other Philippine companies saw this unserved market, right? How did what was the thinking behind PLDT Global?
So PLDT Global was created 20 years ago. 22 years to be exact. We are the international organization of the PLDT Group, tasked to expand or bring the services of PLDT to the Filipinos outside the country. We become an extension of the servicing, telecom servicing of the group. So we tackle with our global Filipinos outside, companies outside the Philippines who wanted to connect to our country here back home. Company who wanted to expand, for example, BPOs, hyperscalers, who wanted to expand and serve the Filipinos or connect the Filipinos from the Philippines to the global arena.
I see. Very interesting. I have to stop there for a minute because I have to take a commercial break.
Sure.
You're watching the Chairman's Report. We're talking to PLDT Global CEO Edith Gomez-Cudiamat. We'll be right back.
Gisingin na at salubungin ang umagang puno ng kaalamang pangkalusugan. Hindi na kayo mag-worry dahil ang inyong concerns ay sagot na ng ating mga bisitang doktor at espesyalista. Matuto kasama nina Doc Cel Martinez at Jerome Sang sa Doc Truba tuwing Sabado alas 8 ng umaga dito sa IBC 13. Kulang ang araw mo kung wala ang kids na hindi lang cute at charming, kundi super talented din.
It's a time for the people of Iloilo to show their love for their faith and celebrate the rich culture. Young shows the world how rich and diverse Filipino culture is.
Panoorin sila sa Talents Academy every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. sa IBC 13.
Welcome back to the Chairman's Report. I'm 𝐸𝐿𝐻, the CFO. We're talking to PLDT Global CEO Edith Gomez-Cudiamat. We were talking earlier about how PLDT Global wants to position itself and how it came about. Maybe if you could talk about the current setup right now. What would you say is your core business? Because there's, as we said, there's transition or technology advancement, but
Yeah.
how would you describe what you do?
Okay. PLDT Global, as I said, we are the mini PLDT outside the
Right.
country. The businesses that we are actually operating outside the Philippines is a global enterprise business, which tackles connectivity requirement for companies, hyperscalers, connectivity to the Philippines and across the regions. We have carrier business. This is the telco to telco relationship, which delivers your quality voice, data services, roaming services, and the likes. And lastly, the consumer piece, which really addresses our 10.6 million global Filipinos outside the Philippines. The consumer business is a big portion of the PLDT Global business. This is where most of our efforts really are poured into. This is where our relationship for the
Yes, I
CFO
was going to
is
say,
rooted.
I'm limited by my knowledge of 𝐸𝐿𝐻,
Yes.
and even then, it's quite limited. Where does that fit in? What is it first, and where does that fit
Okay.
in your
In the
business?
three business pillar that I have mentioned, this
Yeah.
is the international consumer piece that we handle. Very big, as mentioned, it addresses the 10.6 million Filipinos, global Filipinos overseas. Tinbo or Tindahan ni Bossing. Tinbo is our cute nickname. So when we discuss, too long kasi Tindahan ni Bossing. So when we discuss it with partners, it comes out cute to
Yes.
discuss it at Tinbo. It is a digital marketplace, curated content, really addressing the daily needs, requirements of every Filipinos outside the country, which connects them back to home, back to their loved ones into the Philippines.
Interesting. It's precisely what CFO is trying to do.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It provides meaningful resources, micro support for the Filipinos outside the Philippines. We say it's actually providing more impactful services because it addresses yung daily needs ba ng Filipinos. Kasi
Sure.
when you're outside, sometimes your relationship back home becomes weekly or even monthly to some of our Filipinos. What we intend to do is for every Filipinos outside, for them to be able to be connected to the daily activities back of their families. A simple load requirement of yung prepaid load natin. Kasi mga Filipinos,
So
di ba?
micro expenses.
Sending,
Yeah,
di ba?
yeah.
To a request of, Mami, gusto ko ng manok for my baon today.
Right.
So I can send a gift voucher to my kid and just get it from popular chicken brands in the country, to addressing utility bills sa Meralco payment, Maynilad payment, into giving also healthcare, 𝐿 vouchers. Yan. Available lahat yan sa Tinbo. So, what we would like to provide to our overseas Filipino workers or migrants overseas is for them not to be bothered with sending one-time, big-time support.
I see.
What we wanted them to do is to be involved in the daily ask, daily requirements of the families back home. Parang part pa rin ng daily activities, parang our kids coming into us and asking for, kulang po ako ng baon, or meron po akong babayaran sa school. That's the activity that Tinbo wanted to address to between the overseas Filipino workers and their family back here.
Would you say that's more like a service or an investment of PLDT, or more of a revenue generating? Because I know this, the reason I'm asking is because you partner with us, and obviously there's no money involved in transacting through our offering. Obviously, that hotline is for reporting human trafficking cases. There's no money there, but it's an important service because through this, Filipinos anywhere in the world can access the action line without cost.
Yes.
And that's music to my ears, but I'm not sure how does that sound to yours. And there are other government partners in the app.
Yeah. So with there's part of business and there's part of also social responsibility program for PLDT Global. The part of the business is the transaction, diba? For every time they send, of course, there's a little money that goes into PLDT Global for us to report our revenue, for us to continue servicing,
to make it sustainable,
to make it sustainable. Now, on the social responsibility side, this is the pride of PLDT Global because I guess there's no company right now that's servicing the global Filipinos that provides this free access to the helpline that you have, 1343. And also, I can mention, that we also have helpline services that is available and also free for our global Filipinos to the OWA helpline 1348. And we're also in talks with the other government agency who provide similar helpline services to make it accessible to our Filipinos, and we want to give it for free to them kasi nga helpline you don't want to charge them. Right now, if they're abroad and they want to call our 1343, 1348, they will be charged with international calls.
International rates.
International rates. They need to pick up their mobile phones and call the regular +632 and your number. That is the gap that we saw when we interviewed our fellow Filipinos outside. Sure, there are available services, but to them, it's not for free. So that's why we partnered, to make this service accessible for them for free 24/7.
I see. Very, very interesting. And hopefully by the time they watch this episode, the 1343 will be live already.
It is working. It should be working.
Should be working already. So what is the big vision here? Because obviously the government has its own app, the eGov app, that has several LGUs, several different departments, including us. Do you see yourself competing or complementing what's available? What's the proper way to describe it?
It should be complementing. Because government service, the eGov apps really service everything inside the government. What we wanted to do is to make that access either inside Tinbo or we are discovered inside the eGov app, so that every Filipinos can have access to the free services and to the services that is made to service their family that they need to purchase, they need to buy. So discovery lang siya.
So the Tinbo, correct me if I'm wrong, is free to download, but there are in-purchase offerings. Can you talk about it?
So Tinbo is available on iOS and Android. Free to download. Actually, inside Tinbo, there are a lot of freebies when you use the service. We have the Smart Virtual Number. It makes available for every Filipinos, and it is given for free for the first 3 months of service. What it does is it provides OTPs to every Filipino. So sometimes they need to connect to a Philippine bank that requires a Philippine number, right? Even
Okay.
you're outside the Philippines. Most of the Filipinos, they carry na lang their local numbers, for example, in the US, in the UK, in Japan, in the Middle East. So it will be very difficult for them to register to any Philippine app or 𝐂𝐸𝐺 app as needed and being required right now, right? So the Smart Virtual Number, what it does, it provides the mobile digital identity for every Filipino so that they should be able to avail and register of those services and them to receive OTPs overseas.
That's interesting. My nephew had interned here, but he's based in the US. And when he was trying to close his bank account, he couldn't do it because the OTP couldn't go through.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yun yung seamless na
I
pinoprovide
see.
ni Timbo, no? And of course, that smart virtual number, that allows them to call for free the helpline of 1343
Right.
and all the other helpline.
I see. And then, in order for the system to work better, do you need to have the domestic user register for the Tinbo as well as the foreign, or can you get away with just the overseas Filipino registering for it and have the others not download Tinbo? Or
No.
what is the
So,
most optimal?
The thing is, so Tinbo is available for our global, for outside the Philippines.
Okay,
for
so it's
our-
not available in
not
the
available in the
Okay.
Philippines. What it does, so sure we can receive calls and SMS, no, on data services. Here, yung kamag-anak nila, they can call that smart virtual number kahit wala silang data.
I see.
So the regular cost, because sometimes in the far-flung areas, hindi pa naman widespread. I mean, all other networks are still trying to provide data services, or sometimes pag walang internet load, regular call lang, yung unlimited calls lang. They can call that smart virtual number using their regular load available for them. So, the overseas Filipinos lang ang needed natin mag-download ng Tinbo.
I see. And another feature I saw there was this e-padala. Is that part of Tinbo, or is it another offering? But maybe
Yeah, 𝐸padala is an available services. Is available service inside Tinbo. What it does is it makes e-vouchers or e-credit for cash in to the popular e-wallets in the Philippines, like Maya, the banks, the popular banks. So all of the major banks in the Philippines, it allows cash in transfers 24/7 anytime that the family needed support. So this service we thought of not to take out the remittance companies. No?
Okay.
Sure, for big transactions, they will have
So
to
you're not
go.
substituting?
We are not substituting.
Okay.
We are complementing because there are certain calls that being received by the OFs at the middle of the night, midnight AM, they cannot go naman to a remittance company. They would have to wait the next operating hours, the next 7 AM or 8 AM, right? But sometimes our emergency money is needed 11 PM, 2 AM in the morning. So as long as they have their Tinbo, they can access e-padala and they have their local wallets. In Saudi, for example, they should be able to transact and send support back home any time of the day. Secured support 24/7.
Very interesting. So, to clarify, you're not a bank, or
We are not a
you're not
bank.
an e-wallet.
We are not an e-wallet.
Okay.
We are just that transit service that facilitate that support to be able to fund the e-wallets here or the banks here in the Philippines.
So, before I go on break, is it correct to think about Tinbo when I think about PLDT Global, or is there another operational program that is more accurate to associate with?
For PLDT Global International Consumer, it's just Tinbo.
I see. Very interesting. I have to take a quick break again. Please stay tuned. You're watching the Chairman's Report. We're talking to PLDT Global Edith Gomez-Cudiamat. We'll be right back.
Gusto nyo ba ng mas exciting na content? It's time to manually scan your Digibox or Smart TV. Tune in sa aming dynamic trio lineup, all in one channel band. Stay tuned to Congress TV at channel 13.2 for the latest updates and happenings straight from the legislative halls. Enjoy your favorite shows na hindi lang siksik sa information, kundi punong-puno rin sa entertainment.
sa IBC 13 at Channel 13.1. At para sa pinakabagong balita, talk shows at music, stay tuned to the 1206 AM sa Channel 13.3. Broadcasting your favorite radio shows on your TV. All this and more in just one channel band. Don't miss out. Manually scan your Digibox or Smart TV now to enjoy Congress TV at 13.2, IBC 13 at 13.1, at the 1206 AM at 13.3. Experience more. Enjoy more. Only on your TV.
Travel goals? Hindi papahuli dyan si Diego.
Look at that. We're gonna be hanging loose. Kaya suwak ito para sa quick nature trip.
Samahan siya sa kanyang adventurous trip habang tinutuklas ang bawat sulok ng Pilipinas at ang natatanging culture, cuisine, and everything in between. Sa Kultura, tuwing Sabado alas 11 ng umaga dito sa IBC 13.
Welcome back to the Chairman's Report. I'm 𝐸𝐿𝐴, your host. We're talking to PLDT Global COO Edith Gomez-Cudiamat. What is your outlook for the rest of 2025 and beyond? Are you optimistic, not optimistic? And what keeps you up at night?
We are bullish and looking forward.
Okay, well, that's good to hear.
For 2025, we have charted a very strong momentum. And moving forward, 2025 and beyond, I think we will continue what we're doing. We're expanding. Just last night, actually, Albert, our CEO, and I met with a US-based company discussing how we can further support the requirement of the evolving needs of the Filipino. Talking about virtual bank account partnership and the rest. No, just a week ago, we were actually in Jeddah. We met with our partners, STC Group, expanding our relationship. We have just signed up. It's out in the media. We have signed up with STC Bank of the Middle East and STC Bahrain, and we were called for a discussion again with the STC Group CEO, discussing about exclusivity of the partnership expanding. So we're very bullish. We are looking into digital innovation, crossing over micro support for the global Filipinos, expanding relationship with banks, fintechs, digital innovation partnerships. That's on the consumer piece. On the corporate side, we are doing country sell. We are discussing with hyperscalers, global enterprises, focusing on the promotion of our recently launched Petro Santa Rosa. It was launched together with the President a week ago. We are very bullish into promoting the capability of the country, hosting big companies, hyperscalers and the likes, to put up their node in the country and experience the global workforce, the quality of the workforce that we have, and the innovation and the technology and the support that the country can provide.
When you say you're bullish, are you talking about the domestic front or talking about the global market?
The global market.
There's so many things. We were talking earlier before we started the interview about the things going on in the United States with the new policies under the Trump administration. Does that give you any pause or maybe cause PLDT Global to shift a bit because of the changing policies happening there?
We're observing, but I think we're steady.
Right.
In fact, we still our PLDT US operations holds around 10 sales and marketing operations in the country, scattered in the different states,
Right.
continuing to conduct the day-to-day business opportunities into the Philippines.
Right.
We still have a lot of opportunities that we receive from the banking sector, OTTs, security sector, and also the Googles and Metas of the United States back into the Philippines. So we're continuing to service that.
What would be, the most important market for you? For the CFO, the biggest or most popular destinations for outbound migrants would be the U.S., Canada, and Australia.
Yeah.
Is it similar to yours? Are you looking at any emerging markets that you have not yet served and are probably looking to expand to maybe later in the year or maybe next year?
U.S., Canada is a similar market. That's a concentration for us. Middle East is emerging.
Also,
supporting the 2030 vision of Saudi, right? I think before Secretary Toots passed away, there's a government program to send 1 million Filipinos over the spread of 5 years into the Middle East. So we're supporting that. We're looking into that. Of course, our neighboring Asia is something that's close to us. Our chairman, who used to be, he will always call himself, MVP will always call himself as an OFW based in Hong Kong.
You work outside as well, but we'll talk about that later. But
so
you're looking at the regional markets.
Regional markets.
I see.
Yeah. But the Middle East is something that we wanted to expand. Europe, Middle East and Europe, both for the global Filipinos and the businesses also.
But not to put you on the spot. That's not because you're looking to diversify because of what's going on in the U.S., but you're merely looking at emerging opportunities?
Emerging opportunities. Middle East and Europe is something that we wanted to crack for the longest time. And with our partnership with the carriers in the Middle East, that would give us a good avenue to open that corridor for us.
I see. And so what are the headwinds that you are looking at? So if you have these plans to maybe serve the Middle East more, while you maintain and grow your markets where you started in North America, what are some of the concerns? What are you looking at? And maybe what can government do? Like what can CFO and others in government do to help you grow? Because when you grow, obviously there's
we will grow
benefit
together.
for the country. Yeah.
I guess it's really more helping the group into the trade business.
Okay.
Really more opening up because there are a lot of opportunities for international businesses to come into the Philippines. Policies probably that can support investment into the country, and for the outside, it's really more embracing us, not only PLDT Global, right, but companies who wanted to expand into the regions, to set up businesses outside the country. We have just opened up or registered our local company. We have just expanded into Saudi by opening up PLDT Middle East. So we now have a regional office in the Middle East. We were just given last year a license in Singapore. We call it facility-based service operator. So I guess recognizing companies like us, PLDT Global, who is expanding into the other regions with the support of the government, of course, would help and will probably inspire other companies who wanted to go global, similar to us.
Is there maybe a specific legislation that you're lobbying for, or maybe a policy that you're pushing for to make that more attainable? Yeah.
Not quite, but it's just really, I guess, when we go out, going jointly or collaborating jointly together, which we actually do naman. We visit the DFA, we visit the Philippine government offices every time there's a conduct of business outside the country. I
see. And I was wondering if there's also discussion within your group to maybe expand beyond the Overseas Filipinos, because obviously I said, you mentioned 10.6. My figure says 10.8.
10.8?
But, nobody really knows because data is a challenge.
Yes.
But is that the base from which you want to expand? Are you looking to have a more, maybe a bigger market to serve also non-Filipinos overseas, with the Filipino communities overseas as your as your base?
Filipino communities overseas will be our core base,
Yeah.
will always be our primary market. But there are talks right now where the innovations that we have, that we can actually promote to other regions with similar profile like
see.
our global Filipino
Like maybe say
workforce.
India.
Yes, India, Indonesia,
Yeah.
which will have the similar requirement of support back home. We are also into discovering this small organization. We call them the Pacific Island Telecoms Council.
Okay.
This is the organization of different island telco operators, where when we actually discuss with the operators, they mentioned that there are something about 2,000 to 5,000 Filipinos for each of the island. We were thinking, actually discussing just last night, if we can bring in the technology of Tinbo into the island and make them a local service for the region for them to adopt and also extend the services to the Filipinos. So these are the things that we wanted to do. The innovations that we have, we offer them to similar regions with similar profile like our Filipinos.
And if you do that, does that translate to more jobs here at home, or what's the attraction of looking at that?
By doing that, because the Tinbo is actually Filipino made,
Right.
In
So
partnership.
Tinbo will be global.
Global.
I mean, literally not just for Filipinos.
In partnership with our another subsidiary of the group, Multisys, we created the Tinbo app. So by expanding and by promoting the Tinbo app into the other regions, we're also creating more demand for our system integrator company, Multisys. And for sure, if we are able to promote the technology that we have and the workforce that we are able to support by producing this app, it will surely open doors for the workforce in the Philippines. I mentioned about the hyperscaler by doing the country sale into the country, by doing the country sale to the hyperscalers or to the global enterprises into the country. For sure, it will promote more job opportunities because they will be needing local technical support.
I see.
Yeah.
And what worries you? I mean, these are nice plans. Obviously, what do you pay attention to? Is it global growth? Are you looking at maybe the strength of the dollar or the peso? Inflation. What are you watching? What are you monitoring to make sure that these objectives are met? What worries you?
So today, because our services are fully digital,
right?
What worries us is the technical aspect of it, cybersecurity.
I see.
So it needs to be on point and on the dot, attending to possible actors and attacks. So in collaboration also with the group cybersecurity and our PLDT Global's own IT security, we are making sure that all our services are foolproof, secured, as we should say, but the global attackers and different actors are more, we should say, more creative
more
than us.
More
sophisticated than us. So we make sure that everything is actually being attended to, even the small attempts on security, possible security breach, we're addressing that. That is what keeping us awake.
You and everybody else.
We don't know. Sometimes attack will happen when we're all sleeping at night, right? So those are the things. And also, possible attack on SMS smishing.
I see.
So in partnership also with the fraud management group of the bigger organization at PLDT, there are policies in force and firewall, I must say, that being implemented and also upgraded on a regular basis to ensure that attacks for the consumer that we handle is actually addressed also.
Well, the government, over the years has been working on cybersecurity. Is there anything else that you think deserves more attention from the government institution?
I guess this is what I have observed outside. The government together with the telco operators are really very bullish in addressing this.
Okay.
I guess for us to be able to address those matters is a strong collaboration.
There's dialogue.
There's dialogue.
Okay,
PISAC
good.
is a venue
Good. Yes,
for the private entities, telcos like ours, to address this. And I guess with the with the DICT, of course, we should be able to promote and should be able to, I guess, copy or adopt the technology or the policies being addressed by our neighboring.
So look at the best
countries.
practices.
Best
right?
practices, right? Something that we should be able to adopt and address.
That's very interesting, but I have to take another quick break. Please stay tuned. You're watching the Chairman's Report. We'll be right back.
Kasama si Greg Gregorio. Sama-sama nating alamin at tuklasin ang mga tungkuling ginagampanan ng bawat miyembro ng gabinete at ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. para sa pagbabago at kaunlaran ng ating bansa. Sa Cabinet at Work, tuwing Lunes, 1:30 ng hapon, dito sa IBC 13.
Kumusta mga sayanista? Let's go, mga sayanista! Halina't sumama kina Kuya Ro at Agham sa kanilang nakaka-excite na adventures habang natututo ng kamangha-manghang lessons about science and technology.
Oh, mga sayanista, makinig na mabuti.
Sabay-sabay tayong mag-explore, mag-eksperimento at mag-enjoy sa Sayanista tuwing Linggo, 4:00 ng hapon.
Don't be late ha! Dito lang sa IBC 13!
Welcome back to the Chairman's Report. I'm 𝐸𝐿𝐻. We're talking to Ms. Edith Gomez-Cudiamat of the PLDT Global Corporation. Let's switch it up a little bit because I was looking at your website, and I keep noticing that sustainability was all over the website. Of course, sustainability can mean many things, of the business, but there's also the aspect of the environment. What is the message there, and why is it important to your company?
Yeah. As you have observed, when you open our website, sustainability comes up front, right? Because to us, sustainability is not just a checkbox.
Okay.
It's just an imperative, and it is embedded in every program that PLDT Global conducts. It is actually aligned with the sustainability goals of the group, no? To be able to provide responsible digital innovations, securing the public into the access into the digital world. At PLDT Global, we're actually very, very proud on the partnerships that we have that uplifts the financial literacy and livelihood of the segment that we are actually servicing. And in fact, that is external to the consumer. Internally also, we are embracing sustainability into the wellness of every employee of PLDT Global. On business operations, we are actually in the roadmap for ISO certification, which is actually a testament that we wanted our operational programs to observe certain standard to be able to provide good customer experience to our public, to the consumer that we have.
So sustainability internally and
external.
In a way, capacity building, would you say,
Yes.
for the market? You said financial literacy.
Livelihood.
Why is that important?
To the community that is served, the 10.6 or 10.8 Filipinos, what we observe is that even though they remit huge or they earn a lot, financial programs and the livelihood is something that they are lacking when they reintegrate back home. So as much as possible, the programs that we provide them integrates information on how to take care of the wealth that they have right now, which is sometimes temporary, right?
Sure.
Based on contract yan
Sure.
eh. So when they go back home, sometimes they're left with nothing.
Or not enough.
Or not enough.
Yeah.
Sometimes the savings that they have envisioned when they fly back home is spent somewhere else. And thinking that they will reintegrate back home, minsan napo-force sila ulit, o sige, I'll go abroad na lang, sign up another
Or maybe the
contract.
next generation.
Or yeah.
So you can talk about this firsthand because you worked abroad.
Yes.
Maybe you can talk about that better. You know, what brought you
Back
overseas, and then why did you come back?
I have actually 3 stints.
Okay.
So 2 times Hong Kong and 1 in Guam.
Okay.
Okay. Well, it was dictated. I was asked
You
to...
were with PLDT.
I was with
I
PLDT
see.
Global.
So you were an expat.
I was asked to head business development for the group. I was asked to open organization business offices in Hong Kong, Singapore, Italy, UK, Japan. So all addressing the Filipinos overseas, and even opening up corporate opportunities for the group. No? It's a bittersweet experience, I should say, because I started working abroad 20 years ago. And the culture at the time and the thinking at that time was still conservative. For a Filipina who will join a workforce of dominated by male, as I shared earlier with you, there are times that I attend meetings, 12 people in the room. I'm the only Filipina inside. And
you're already in a corporate space.
In a corporate space.
Yeah.
I'm faced with a male-dominated organization where they thought Filipinas usually should be, you know, at the backside of all the discussion. Sometimes it's in my level, in the corporate level that I have, sometimes it's also, at the time, quite difficult for me to gain that level of confidence and trust of the partner.
Sure.
It takes time. It takes time because to them, a Filipina.
I'm sure when someone's not talking as equals, it can be jarring.
Yeah. It's actually demeaning at that
demeaning,
time. But I need to hold my ground and present myself.
Swallow your pride.
Yeah, so, you know, this is not only for you guys.
Yes.
And we're in a corporate world. So at that time I felt how much is it also, the way I feel at that time, I can just not imagine how the elementary workers would feel, no, if they're outside in the field, diba? How they are being treated.
Sure.
And when I conduct focus group discussion, interview every Filipinos, there are good stories and there are bad stories on how they are treated.
Right.
I myself, when I go out on a weekend, shop in a big malls, diba? I'm capable to pay, but sometimes they tell me, this is not the area for sales. Parang we are being pushed in an area where, oh, parang you're here for the sale things. So parang,
I want to push you a bit and maybe ask, you know, why should people back home care? Maybe particularly the policymakers. And I'm asking this because some of the people we talk to, they assume that once the Filipino goes abroad, but that they leave everything behind because they have a better life, more comfortable life. But from what you saw, does that hold water? I mean, because some people would say Filipinos never will never lose touch with the Philippines, right? And that's why they continue to engage. Which is it, that they forget about where they come from and then leave their lives, or they somehow connect to the homeland?
Yeah, you will have to, and you will still be forced to connect to the homeland because that's not your home, eh?
Yeah.
Your neighbors, your friends are not all Filipinos, diba? You will have that longingness to connect somehow to the usual things that you do.
Right.
Myself, when I'm home alone, I will just turn on the TV and watch Filipino programs.
Okay. That's how you connected.
That's how I connect. Sometimes I wanted to call back home, but because of the time difference in the areas that I am situated, hindi sila available, or even on the same time zone, they have things to do, diba? So I tend to connect using that television program, hearing Filipino conversations, and seeing Filipino gatherings, you will miss that. Every Filipinos out there will have, kahit sabihin nilang, I'm already domesticated in the airs
Sure.
I am.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure there's a part of them who will always want to come back.
Well, it's one thing to run a company that caters to Filipinos overseas, but you were also abroad. Was there something that gave you a better appreciation of the market that you serve because you live with them
Yes.
for many years? Then maybe you would not have, you may not have seen or may not have been aware of it if you did not have that experience.
Of course. When we were conceptualizing the business for the outside, it's all drawing in our heads.
Right.
Diba? So when you're assigned outside or even be given a chance to observe the lives of the Filipinos outside, then you realize that you either overstated the problem or understated the problem. Until you have a chance to talk to them.
Firsthand see it, yeah.
Firsthand see it. That's why also in our organization, we are promoting for every chance that we have, we ask our team to participate or be part of any, even a small program that we conduct outside. Kahit medyo expensive, we try to make it a point that one or two immerse or participate or observe just to see the market. Yeah. Different people outside or Filipinos outside, of course, they need to adjust with the culture, with the norms, with the policies, diba? So, and even the way of life, iba.
What would you say are some of the misconceptions that maybe some Filipinos would have back here at home that maybe is not appreciated as much when it comes to maybe what our kababayans do overseas?
That we don't eat tuyo anymore. Because we go to a small Filipino store just to look for tuyo.
Yeah.
Diba? That we pay 10 Hong Kong dollars, $5 US just to buy cornic from the Philippines. Boy bawang became so familiar in the US because they misses the cornic back home that we will go out on our way to shop and go to a Filipino store just to buy anything that is coming from the Philippines. All those, itong mga laing that you cook and they are being sent outside, we will buy that. Triple, double, minsan times 4 the price.
Oh, I'm hoping that somebody watching this program is now getting some business ideas.
Yeah.
But let me shift a bit because you said you had 3 stints abroad.
Yeah.
Many people assume that once they leave the Philippines, then they
Forget the Philippines.
they leave for good or for long term. Even people like you who were sent abroad by their company. But what was the attraction to come back? I mean, other than of course your company or your boss telling you to do so.
It's the culture.
Okay.
It's the culture of us belonging into a family.
Okay.
The culture outside is para siyang kahit family sila, you have to schedule your visit, diba?
Yeah.
Even Filipinos in the US or probably Canada, you cannot just knock on their doors and parang honk your horns into their garage and I'm visiting unannounced.
Yeah.
Because the lifestyle is different, diba?
Yeah.
They have to work, they don't have support. Here we have kasambahays to help us every day or extended family.
Right.
Outside they're on their own. That's why they cannot immediately accommodate. Everything is scheduled.
Right.
Culture here is if you're bored, you just drive out, you go to your cousin's house, you will feel very much welcome, right? So outside iba everything is timed. Everything is scheduled.
Yeah. Is that something that you see with, I mean, like all Filipinos have relatives abroad? Is that something you see with them, with some of the customers you've met? Is that do they have the same inclination, same longing? I suppose.
Yes, yeah. As you observe, we were discussing about this earlier. In Hong Kong, di ba, pag Sunday, even if in a public space they will congregate because they want to chismis.
Yeah.
They want to share a meal with someone that is not usual in their everyday activity, di ba? So Yun talaga yun eh. It's the culture of
The social.
the social activities, that sense of belongingness.
Yeah.
In fact, that's one of the need space that we saw every time we interviewed, every time we conduct an EdCity. That's need space that tumataas talaga.
Right. Well, there's so many things I can talk to you about, but unfortunately, I'm limited by my
Sayang.
airtime here.
Kulang.
But we have to do it again. But Edith, before we go, maybe you would like to leave our audience with some message from PLDT Global.
Well, thank you for allowing me, Secretary. So to all of our kababayans overseas, we've been discussing this 𝐸𝐴 app. We'd like to invite you to check it out in your iOS, in your Android. Check out and discover the Philippines inside 𝐸𝐴. Discover how you can connect and you can participate in the daily activities of your family through 𝐸𝐴. And also discover the free access services that we provide via 𝐸𝐴 Smart Virtual Number, access to CFO 1343 and also OWA 1348. That's the support that we would like to provide to you. Discover the Philippines inside 𝐸𝐴 and be connected with your families back home.
Ed, thank you once again
Thank
for
you,
your time. And I think,
Secretary.
as I said, we need to do this again when you have more
Yes.
updates to
Expanded
share.
na.
Yes. But thank you very much. And I'd like to thank our viewers. I'd like to thank also IBC 13 for making this program available to the CFO. This has been the Chairman's Report. I'm 𝐷𝐐𝐚𝐢𝐿. I'll see you next week and keep on watching IBC 13. Thank you.
Thank you.